These aren't fitness models. These aren't toned Instagram influencers. These are the 14 most muscular women to ever step on a bodybuilding stage. Physiques so extreme, they force the entire sport to rethink its limits. We're talking about Ms. Olympia champions who pack more muscle than most male gym goers will ever build. Backs like roadmaps, arms that made judges do double takes, legs that defied what anyone thought a woman could develop. This list includes 10 Olympia champions, multiple Rising Phoenix winners, a powerlifting legend who changed everything, and a cultural icon who brought extreme female muscle into living rooms worldwide. Some names you'll know, others will surprise you, but every single one earned her spot by carrying more raw muscle than seemed humanly possible. No fluff, no filler, just the most muscular female physiques ever built. Let's start with the greatest of all time, Iris Kyle. When people ask who the greatest women's bodybuilder of all time is, there's really only one answer, and it's Iris Kyle. Her dominance wasn't just about winning. It was about how she won. Kyle captured 10 Ms. Olympia titles across different eras of the sport, adapting to rule changes, judging shifts, and new competitors without ever losing her grip on the top spot. She also claimed 7 Ms. International overall victories. No woman in bodybuilding history has matched that trophy count, and it's unlikely anyone ever will. What separated Kyle from everyone else was her granite-like density. Her back looked like a topographical map, thick, deeply separated, and impossibly hard. Her shoulders were full and round from every angle. Her arms carried the kind of mature muscle that only comes from years of relentless development. On stage, she didn't just look muscular. She looked carved from stone and polished to a mirror finish. And the conditioning? Flawless. Kyle became famous for returning to competition after breaks looking sharper and more complete than before. While other champions might coast on reputation, she seemed incapable of showing up anything less than her absolute best. Off stage, standing around 5'7" with that much mass, she looked like a different species entirely. Dense, powerful, and unmistakably built. But Kyle set the ceiling. The next woman on this list helped build the foundation, Lenda Murray. Before Iris Kyle rewrote the record books, Lenda Murray was a standard everyone chased. Murray won 8 Ms. Olympia titles, dominating the 1990s with physique that proved you could carry serious muscle and still maintain visual harmony. While others sacrificed shape for size, Murray refused to compromise. Her signature was balance. Thick legs that matched her upper body, a dramatic V-taper that flattered her frame, and proportions that made her look complete from every angle. Her run through the 1990s was historic. Several of her Olympia victories came down to razor-thin decisions, but she kept finding ways to win. Then, after stepping away from competition, Murray made a comeback in the early 2000s and won the Olympia again, proving her physique wasn't a product of a weak era, but genuine genetic superiority combined with elite preparation. Murray became one of the most visible women bodybuilders in mainstream media, appearing in magazines and coverage that introduced millions of people to what women's bodybuilding legends actually looked like. She helped establish the judging criteria that balanced mass with aesthetics, influencing how the sport evaluated physiques for years afterward. At her peak, Murray carried more muscle than most people thought a woman could, while making it look almost effortless. The woman who ended Murray's legendary streak took things even further. Andrea Shaw. If you want to see what modern women's bodybuilding looks like at its absolute peak, look at Andrea Shaw. Shaw became the flagship champion when women's bodybuilding returned to the Olympia stage, and she's held that position with an iron grip. Multiple Ms. Olympia titles, multiple Rising Phoenix victories, dominance that feels less like competition and more like exhibition. What makes Shaw remarkable is the completeness. There are no weak points. Her legs carry dense, separated mass. Her back spreads wide with thick, detailed muscle. Her shoulders and arms match her lower body without overpowering it. From front double biceps to rear lat spreads, every mandatory pose reveals a physique built to win every category comparison. But the most impressive thing about Shaw isn't one specific show, it's the consistency. She doesn't have a single legendary peak that she's chasing forever after. She brings near-identical conditioning year after year, proving that her physique isn't a fluke or a one-time event. That kind of repeatability at the highest level of extreme muscle is extraordinarily rare. Standing next to everyday people, Shaw looks like she belongs in a comic book, broad, dense, and visually overwhelming even in casual clothes. Before Shaw's era, though, one woman shot the sport into a new direction almost overnight: Kim Chizevsky-Nichols. Kim Chizevsky-Nichols didn't just win 4 consecutive Ms. Olympia titles from 1996 to 1999. She fundamentally changed what people expected a women's bodybuilding champion to look like. When Chizevsky arrived at the elite level, she was carrying upper body mass that made judges and audiences recalibrate their expectations. Her shoulders were capped and round. Her arms were thick and dense. Her chest and back created a visual impact that felt almost aggressive in its muscularity. In 1996, she won both Ms. Olympia and Ms. International in the same year, then dethroned the legendary Lenda Murray to do it. That victory wasn't just a changing of the guard. It signaled a shift in what the sport would reward. Chizevsky represented a new era where size and density could trump traditional proportions, and her 4-year reign proved it wasn't a one-time fluke. After her bodybuilding career, she transitioned into fitness and figure competition, showing versatility beyond pure mass. But her legacy remains rooted in those dominant Olympia years when she walked on stage carrying more muscle than anyone thought a woman could bring, and won anyway. Her physique announced, "The rules have changed." The next athlete on this list had an even shorter window, but made an equally massive impression: Denise Rutkowski. Denise Rutkowski's professional career was brief, but in women's bodybuilding, sometimes a single performance is enough to become legendary. At the 1993 Ms. Olympia, Rutkowski placed second, and even that runner-up finish sent shockwaves through the sport. Her physique that night was thick, dense, and aggressive in a way that few had seen before. Her arms and shoulders carried mass that rivaled anyone in the lineup. Her stage presence was intense, almost confrontational. She didn't just pose, she commanded attention. That year, many observers believed she could have won. The debate over that decision has never fully settled, and Rutkowski remains one of the biggest what-if athletes in the history of women's bodybuilding. What would have happened if she continued competing at that level? How many titles might she have claimed? We'll never know. Her competitive peak was short, and she stepped away before anyone could answer those questions. But that 1993 Olympia showing alone was enough to cement her place among the most muscular female physiques ever presented on a bodybuilding stage. Sometimes a single night defines a career, and Rutkowski's second-place finish defined an era of possibilities. The next competitor proved that international athletes could dominate American stages. Yaxeni Oriquin Garcia. Yaxeni Oriquin Garcia didn't just compete at the top. She became the only Venezuelan to ever win a Ms. Olympia title. That victory came in 2005, but Oriquin Garcia's Olympia-level presence stretched across the entire decade. She consistently finished in the top 3, battling through one of the most competitive eras in women's bodybuilding history. While champions came and went, Yaxeni stayed dangerous year after year. Her physique was defined by density. Her legs were packed with thick, hard muscle that held up against anyone in the sport. Her overall structure carried weight without looking blocky or unbalanced. She could match the mass monsters pound for pound while maintaining enough flow to score well in comparison lineups. What made her even more impressive was her longevity. Women's bodybuilding went through multiple judging philosophy changes during her career, and Oriquin Garcia adapted to all of them. She wasn't a one-era champion. She was a multi-era threat who kept qualifying, kept competing, and kept placing against whoever showed up. That kind of sustained excellence requires more than muscle. It requires mental resilience most people can't fathom. But decades before Yaxeni's reign, one woman arrived from a different sport entirely and changed everything. Bev Francis. Bev Francis didn't start as a bodybuilder. She started as one of the strongest women on the planet. Before stepping on a bodybuilding stage, Francis was an elite powerlifter who had set world records and dominated her sport internationally. When she transitioned to bodybuilding in the 1980s, she brought a level of muscle thickness and raw density that women's bodybuilding had never seen. Her physique wasn't built for aesthetics. It was built for moving maximum weight, and it showed. Frances became the center of the sport's most famous debate: how muscular is too muscular? Her presence in pumping iron, too. The women documented this tension in real time as judges and audiences struggled to reconcile traditional femininity expectations with the undeniable athletic achievement standing in front of them. On stage, she earned multiple top Olympia finishes, including runner-up placements that many felt should have been victories. Her compact, thick frame carried muscle density that other competitors couldn't match, no matter how they trained. Frances didn't win the Ms. Olympia, but she changed what winning could eventually look like. And every champion since owes something to the path she forced open. Now, let's move into the modern era, where one athlete combined mass with near-perfect proportions. Alina Popa. Alina Popa built a physique that proved you could be massive and balanced at the same time. Her biggest victory came at the 2018 Rising Phoenix World Championships, but Popa had been in elite conversations for years before that win. What made her stand out wasn't one freaky body part. It was that nothing lagged behind. Her back was thick and detailed. Her shoulders were full without overwhelming her frame. Her legs matched her upper body in density. Everywhere you looked, the muscle was there. That kind of complete development is harder to achieve than most people realize. Many competitors have one or two showcase body parts surrounded by weaker areas. Popa refused to accept weak points. She built muscle everywhere, then conditioned it to stage-ready hardness. Beyond her physique, Popa became known for her stage presentation and poise. She moved with confidence, hit poses with precision, and understood how to display her muscle in the most flattering light. She also spoke openly about her bodybuilding journey, giving fans insight into the process behind the results. At her peak, Popa belonged in any conversation about the most complete female bodybuilders competing. The next woman on this list took quad development to another dimension entirely. Hella Trevino. Hella Trevino's legs might be the most visually shocking in women's bodybuilding history. Trevino won the Rising Phoenix Championship twice, in 2017 and 2019, and added a Ms. Olympia runner-up finish to her resume. But the numbers don't capture what it's like to actually see her physique in person. Her quad development is extreme even by elite bodybuilding standards. Thick, separated, and conditioned to show every striation, her legs create an immediate visual impact that dominates any stage she stands on. But Trevino isn't a one-trick physique. Her overall density is remarkable. Her back carries serious mass. Her upper body matches the scale of her lower body closely enough to create a genuinely complete package. She reads as massive even when standing next to other Olympia-level competitors, and that's an incredibly difficult thing to achieve. Her background includes farm work and multiple sports before bodybuilding, which might explain the functional thickness her frame carries. Trevino looks like she was built for physical labor, not just flexing, and that translates to a raw, almost primitive visual impact on stage. Fans love her for exactly that reason: unapologetic size. The next athlete took visual massiveness even further, arguably further than anyone. Natalia Kuznetsova. Natalia Kuznetsova might be the most visually massive woman most people have ever seen. Her physique crosses boundaries between bodybuilding and pure strength sport in ways that defy easy categorization. She's known globally not through traditional contest placings, but through social media and public appearances where her sheer size stops people in their tracks. Arms that look impossibly thick. Shoulders that seem too wide to be real. Overall mass that makes even serious bodybuilders look average by comparison. Kuznetsova has publicly shared strength achievements that reinforce the scale of her development, and her visibility has introduced millions of people to what extreme female muscularity can actually look like. Whether or not she's competing on Olympia stages, her presence in the broader bodybuilding conversation is undeniable. Looking at her in photos or videos, the word that comes to mind isn't muscular, it's massive. Her physique represents the far edge of what human female muscle development can achieve, regardless of category or competition circuit. For pure visual shock factor, few athletes in any era can match her. Now let's look at a competitor who embraced being too big as her entire brand. Irene Anderson. Irene Anderson doesn't just accept that she's unapologetically large. She markets it. Her branding as too big for the world tells you everything you need to know about her approach. Anderson placed 5th at the 2020 Ms. Olympia and is in a consistent presence on the wings of strength and rising Phoenix circuits, always bringing density that makes judges and audiences take notice. Her physique prioritizes thickness over traditional aesthetic flow. She carries mass in her torso, arms, and legs that reads as genuinely heavy, like the muscle has real weight to it, not just visual size. That approach won't win every judging panel, but it guarantees she never gets ignored. Anderson represents a segment of women's bodybuilding that refuses to soften or apologize for extreme development. In a sport that has sometimes tried to pull competitors back toward more acceptable levels of muscularity, she leans in the opposite direction. Bigger, denser, thicker. That's the goal, and she pursues it relentlessly. For fans who want to see women's bodybuilding push boundaries rather than retreat from them, Anderson delivers exactly what they're looking for. The next athlete combined elite muscularity with a medical professional's discipline. Colette Nelson. Colette Nelson built one of the most impressive upper bodies in IFBB women's bodybuilding, while managing challenges most competitors never face. Nelson earned her IFBB Pro card through dominant amateur performances, winning the USA Championships heavyweight class and the North Americans overall title. She qualified for and competed at the Ms. Olympia, standing alongside the sport's greatest champions and holding her own. Her physique featured thick, densely muscled arms and a powerful upper body that photographed impressively and posed even better. On stage, she displayed the kind of detailed muscle development that comes only from years of consistent, intelligent training. What makes Nelson's story even more remarkable is that she achieved all of this while managing type 1 diabetes, a condition that requires constant attention to blood sugar, nutrition timing, and overall metabolic balance. Bodybuilding at the elite level is already brutally demanding. Doing it with an additional health consideration requires extraordinary discipline and knowledge, both of which Nelson possessed as a nurse practitioner with nutrition expertise. Her career proved that elite muscularity isn't just about genetics. It's about intelligence, persistence, and refusing to let obstacles become excuses. Our next-to-last athlete brought European power to international stages. Margaret Nahr. Margaret Nahr represented the best of European women's bodybuilding on the world stage. Her biggest victory came at the 2016 Nordic Pro, where she displayed the thick, compact muscularity that defined her physique throughout her career. Nahr went on to compete at Olympia-level events, proving that her pro card wasn't a regional fluke, but a ticket to genuine international competition. What stood out about Nahr was her density relative to her frame. She wasn't the tallest competitor, but she packed muscle onto her structure in a way that maximized visual impact. Her physique looked solid and heavy, built for function, not just flexing. That compact power translated well on stage, where she could stand next to taller athletes and still command attention through sheer muscle thickness. Nahr's career showed that elite women's bodybuilding talent exists far beyond American borders. She trained, competed, and won at the highest levels available to her, representing Icelandic and Nordic bodybuilding with consistent professionalism. Her presence in any lineup added international credibility and serious competition. Finally, we close with an athlete who took extreme muscularity completely mainstream. China Joni Laura. China was never a Ms. Olympia champion. She wasn't an IFBB Pro competitor, but she might have done more to put muscular women in front of mainstream audiences than anyone on this list. As a professional wrestler, China built a physique that shocked television viewers who had never seen a woman carry that kind of size. Her shoulders were broad and capped. Her arms were thick and genuinely powerful. Her overall presence was intimidating in a way that professional wrestling had never featured from a woman before. Feature coverage in Iron Man magazine dubbed her the Great Wall of China, acknowledging that her muscularity rivaled women who trained specifically for bodybuilding stages. She wasn't competing in that world, but she was representing it to millions of people who would never attend a bodybuilding show. That crossover impact matters. China introduced extreme female muscularity to audiences who might have dismissed it otherwise. She normalized the idea that a woman could be visibly, dramatically muscular and still be successful, famous, and celebrated. For cultural impact alone, she earned her place on this list, even without a single bodybuilding trophy to her name. 14 women, 14 physiques that push the boundaries of human muscle development further than most people thought possible. What you've seen in this video isn't about beauty standards or conventional expectations. It's about elite athletic achievement taken to its absolute extreme. Every woman on this list sacrificed years of her life to build muscle that shocked audiences, dominated stages, and forced the sport of bodybuilding to evolve. From Iris Kyle's 10 Olympia titles to China's mainstream cultural impact, these athletes represent the full spectrum of what women's bodybuilding can be. Champions and challengers, powerlifters and wrestlers, athletes who competed for decades and athletes who peaked in a single unforgettable show. They trained when the industry didn't always support them. They competed when judging standards shifted unpredictably. They built physiques that some people criticized simply for existing, and they kept building anyway. That's what makes this list remarkable. Not just the muscle, not just the titles, but the commitment to an ideal that most of the world didn't understand and many actively opposed. The most muscular female physiques ever built didn't happen by accident. They happened because these 14 women decided that limits were suggestions, and then spent their lives proving it.